Guys, deluded goon, a bit of a taboo subject here. Now I was sat with a few friends enjoying the weather a few days ago. For the benefit of this video, two of my friends were Irish, one was English, couple were Asian, and like me, the rest were black. And we had a discussion. There was about 10 of us, 10, 11 of us, maybe even 12. And the discussion, oh, I'm out of breath. This is what running up the stairs does for you. But yeah, the discussion was, would you play for England if you were a professional footballer? And it got all us thinking, like I said, Asian friends, Irish friends, white friends, all born in London, all grew up through London, obviously for whatever reason, had similar circumstances, but also very different circumstances. More specific to the point, it's very important you guys stay with me. I'm going to say a lot of points in this. In my personal situation, now I'm going to firstly say for some people it could be straightforward. Some people it might not be. People represent different nations for different reasons, whether it's qualifying for the World Cup or national pride just by simply wearing the shirt. Now in my case, if you asked me when I was up until I'd say 10 years of age, I would have told you England without thinking twice. I mean, I know he played for United. I used to love the Beckham shirt, Beckham #7, images of that Beckham free kick. I mean, who didn't love England? Broke my heart when I was sat in my house with a Portuguese friend and we lost on penalties and he sat there and laughed at me and things like that. So I would have played for England. I mean, I grew up in London, etc., etc. I would have. But if you then asked me at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I might have, I might still play for England, but I might also go and play for other nations. Now, obviously, I've already said of Jamaican and Bajan descent. Now, to talk about this, I need to go into in depth. Firstly, we'll start with England. Now, I am like a lot of Afro-Caribbeans in my circumstances, and Black Africans and Afro-Africans, however it's described on them papers now, wherever they just define black people on them papers. I mean, it used to be other them days, but we're coming up, we're coming a long way. But yeah, we're in a paradox in that, of course, we're in London because of some of our parents and grandparents made an economic decision to better their lives. In my personal circumstances, family from Barbados and Jamaica, grandparents from both sides came over to this country to make a better life, whether it was like some people to help rebuild the war. We all know England asked for the Commonwealth and whatnot. But it leaves me with a lot. I mean, I've got many stories my grandparents have told me. I'm from trying desperately to find accommodation and finding signs that said no Irish, no dogs, and no niggers. Forgive me for my language. Do you know how upsetting that is to be put on the same level as an animal? We all know about the Teddy Boys. My grandparents also have stories about the Teddy Boys. We all know about racial tensions in the 70s and 80s, particularly with police. We not to make this political, but we always hear about the Tories. It is a fact they do work in in stereotypes. Boris Johnson's always making clangers every day. Like I said, I'm here via the economic decision my grandparents made to better their lives, and they grew up with a lot of They grew up with a lot of stereotypes, a lot of, you've seen the posters about do you want a coloured name but don't vote and things like that. And with the Brexit, I live in London, a multicultural land. I mean, you'd like to think it's all hunky dory. England and English and all of us in general like to pretend it's all nice and gravy, but if we're honest, no, it's not. The Brexit rhetoric has now took it from the outdoors. Previously, you wouldn't even know your neighbour's racist unless you heard them inside. They were scared. Now, whether it's blacks, whites, Asians, of anything, anyone who has any sort of stereotype or prejudice on any race is now coming out and being honest. So we live in a society now where it's alive and kicking, and it's all pushed to the brim, to the back burner. Now, in my personal circumstances, like I said, I grew up in London. In my 20-odd years, I've seen police brutality, of course not on the level of the Americans. The stop and search, been stopped and searched numerous times. I actually remember riding a bike, couldn't be older than 14, riding a bike in the summer holidays. Policemen asked me, they always pick on the young and innocent, why am I riding a bike in the road? Firstly, some holidays I can be riding a bike, and secondly, if I ride on the pavement, we're gonna have problems. Added on to that, we all know the young black stereotypes. If we stand up for ourselves, or if we say certain things, we're labelled aggressive, we're labelled trouble. If I wear a suit, I've seen people cross the road. If I wear a hoodie, people cross the road. Being followed around in stores, and some racial abuse. Like I said, I grew up in London, so largely my experiences in London. I've been to Cambridge, I've been to Norwich, I've been to Wolverhampton, I've been to different areas, of course, but largely it's all London. And of course, there's places outside of London with very big multicultural things. But I can only talk about what I have been through. The 70s and 80s, racism was at its height, was at its head. The tensions, like I said, that was the other day. As recently as 2004, Ron Atkinson made the lazy comment about Marcel Desailly being lazy. further reiterating the fact that black people are lazy, or black males in particular are lazy, don't like to work, hypersexual. We all know for centuries these stereotypes have been going on, but present day, yeah. So that is what goes into it. Like I said, the stop and searches, the behind closed doors, the yeah. I mean, I'm not really English. Like, I was born here. Like I said, my parents made an economic decision. I was born here, but like how, let's be honest, I mean, everybody, the whole human race established from Africa. But if you're European or white specifically, you are from Europe. Like, you are of European descent. The same if you're black, you're of African descent. That is a fact. That is a fact. That's just how human things work. So I am not English. I'm born here, yes, but this, like, you're always reminded of ways that you're not from here. But on the flip side now, if we go and look at Jamaica or Barbados, I love my countries. Treated like royalty when I go back there. I mean, my family, friends, everybody, both nations, lovely. I mean, sun, sea, and everything. It is lovely, and it doesn't matter where you're from. But there is times, not me particular, because I'm easy where I go. Cause I got a lot of family members, and I'm just cool. But you will be reminded that you're not exactly one of them. Firstly, you haven't got the same accent as them. Secondly, no offense, but your clothes are going to be better. Your standard of life is going to be better. So it doesn't matter if you're of descent there, if you've got family there, if they literally see you go into a house. To a degree, this isn't just for Caribbean or African country. This goes for every race. They're going to see you as an outsider, as English. So we're now in a paradox that a lot of young black males find themselves, whether they're Caribbean or African. Here, you're not really welcome here. Over there, you're not really one of them either. So you're stuck in a paradox, like, to find identity. No, now this doesn't talked about often, because you see the likes of Sterling, Sturridge, Defoe. I mean, you see black players representing England, Paul Ince, Sol Campbell. Is it Rio Ferdinand? You wouldn't think twice, but they all had big decisions to make. Like, they all had massive decisions to make. And when we also consider the 2012 riots, not to get into it again, but these are all things I'm looking at as a young black male as to whether I would play for England or Jamaica or Barbados in my case. Like I said, the Teddy boys, being chased, no dogs, no Irish, no niggas. Yeah, and not even that. If we go and look a few years, Saido Barahino, I know he hasn't been in the England squad for a while because he actually hasn't been performing. But he's actually a refugee. Let's just say he was coming up nowadays and his England cap was coming nowadays. And he looks at it. We know we've had a whole, certain sections of society don't want more migrants to come over to this country, don't want migrants, and refugees. He actually is a refugee who left a war-torn country and who not to wish death on anyone, but he might not necessarily be alive unless his parents and family members fled his homeland to come to England to have a better life. And now he's become a footballer. And who knows what would have happened if he didn't. He might be looking at that as, these people don't want refugees. I was one of them. No matter how much I grew up here and I've got a lot to be thankful for, am I one of them? Added to that, of course, if you play for England as opposed to Jamaica and Barbados, you're more than likely going to be in a World Cup. But I mean, qualifying for a World Cup for some countries is a massive thing. You'll be seen as a hero. You'll be seen as royalty. Like I said, I grew up in London. Some people call Wembley North London. It's Northwest. My North London people and Northwest people know that it's completely different. I'm a London boy. Wembley is fairly local. I mean, who hasn't dreamed of scoring that banger at Wembley and going crazy and celebrating? Everybody has, but it's a massive decision to be made. And I mean, I've spoken before how black players in general in the Premier League and when they play for England are crucified at times. You look at Sterling and etc. It is a massive decision to make. Like, it is, like I say with you guys, when I talk about Arsenal, I question what do Arsenal stand for when I support this team. Now, we came up of leadership, of values, working class values, working for each other regardless of your reputation. That's in regards to Arsenal, not to go into specifics. So if I'm going to represent a country, I need to think about what I'm going to represent. If I represent England, it's where I've grown up. It's helped shape me. It's given me my education. It's given me my friends. It's given me this multicultural, rich dynamic that we find ourselves in London. It's given me that, and I've got a lot to be thankful for. And I'd also be representing a lot of people if I chose to play for England. But there's also something that can't be replicated. Playing for you look at Zaha, look what he did for Ivory Coast. But playing for the likes of Jamaica and Barbados, possibly getting them into a World Cup, doing the nation proud, being the underdogs and doing something. That's something that can't be bought. So if it was me personally, you guys know I rarely sit on the fence, but this is one thing I actually have to sit on the fence because I actually don't know. Some people it's a straightforward decision, and that's okay. Some people it's not. It's not just in regards to blacks in England as well. There's a lot of people that play for England that are of Irish descent. Irish people generally, not to make this about politics, went through a lot of hardship in England, still going through a lot of prejudice today. like some similar to blacks, treated as second-class citizens, treated for a lot. So you look at the likes of, let's just say Wayne Rooney, because I know for a fact he's of Irish descent. Let's just say Rooney it was a straightforward decision to play for England, and that's fine. But let's just say he thought, let me represent the country of my grandparents. Let me think about their working values. Let me think about what they may want. I don't know, guys. It's a very hard one to make. It's a hard call to make. No decisions are right or wrong. It's what you want to do. Iwobi chose to play for Nigeria. The likes of Onomoi, etc., might choose to play for England. You get what I'm saying? Some people play for Jamaica, whether they can get into the English side or not, and that's okay. It's everybody has a decision to make. Hargreaves, for example, had the decision to make of English heritage. Could have played for Germany, could have played for Canada, and I think Wales, maybe even another country. Harry Winks, I think he can actually play for Spain and he can play for England. So he faces a question. Gus Poyet, son, Diego Poyet, he might not even be good. I think he's actually played for Uruguay's youth and he's declared for them, but he could have played for Uruguay, Spain and England if it ever came. So there is a decision to make for everybody. But in my case, I don't know. I can only bring my circumstances and experiences as a young black male growing up in London, in England, and think about it really and truly, because I am proud of my Jamaican and Bajan heritage. They still stay with me for life, and I'm proud to have been brought in London and brought up in England, and I'm proud of all the experiences that have shaped me for whatever reason, because everything happens for a reason. But like I said, for some guys it's an easy decision, some guys it's not. For me, I have to sit on the fence for this. Anyways, guys, not to waffle. Deluded Goon, I'm signing out. Get in the comments whether you're white, black, whatever. It's a discussion. This is a taboo subject people don't like to talk about, and it's my duty to you guys to bring it to you. But guys, Deluded Goon, I'm signing out. Subscribe, follow, comment. You guys know the deal.